Hey, welcome to this week's training. Today, I've got an amazing guest for you. This is a person I've been following virtually for a minute now, and I've always been curious about his story. This is someone who's a business person. I believe he was in law enforcement. I'll have to talk to him a little bit about that. But he also plays high stakes poker. He's got some really cool things coming up. So, Nick Vertucci, how are you, sir?
Hey, buddy, what's going on?
I'm
Great.
good. I'm good, man. I really appreciate you coming on the show today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's my pleasure.
So for some of the folks who may not know who you are, could you kind of give us a little bit of a background of what you did? Because it really sounds like you've had like 3 different lives or something here.
Yeah,
right? You had like
I'm
law
old enough.
enforcement, entrepreneurship.
I'm old enough for 3 lives for sure. So, well, I'm a K through 12 educated guy. So if that's an encouragement to anyone, I grew up here in Orange County. I was born in Chicago, but at a very young age, I started a tech business. And when I mean I started a tech business, I really don't, as you know, I could barely get on this podcast with you. I'm not very good at tech, but I kind of was in the right place at the right time. I was started selling computer parts. And anyways, I'll make it real quick. Evolved into a pretty big systems integrator. I did that for a lot of years. Then I evolved into when the .com crash came, my business kind of went sideways. Then I educated myself in real estate, went to a real estate class that I got invited to, it was like a 3-day seminar class, spent a bunch of money I didn't have and learned that business. And then I basically started investing in real estate. I did that professionally for a lot of years, built up a lot of real estate. Long story short, I started my own real estate training company. So kind of the same platform that got me into real estate, I then became the real estate trainer and had students and all that kind of stuff, and been playing poker. And you mentioned it. Yes. Through all that, I was a police officer. I became a cop, went through an academy at night because it's something I wanted to do as a kid. Did that in parallel to my businesses. Been playing poker for a lot of years, only really seriously for the last handful, but I've been playing for many years. Started playing on Live at the Bike. I got invited on their live stream, became a regular there, got to know one of the partners. And again, whatever you want to talk about in this podcast, you can go ahead and ask me, but then, as you know, evolved and started my own business with Ryan Feldman. We run a live stream called Hustler Casino Live. We are high stakes poker productions, but we bring Hustler Casino Live 5 days a week, live streaming cash games, probably the biggest, most consistent games in the industry, and we've blown up. So that is the very, very macro abridged version.
Well, so there's a lot of stuff in there. One of the things that I'm hearing is that so you had a tech company, ran into some issues, ended up going to the real estate industry. But it sounds like you're the type of person that's willing to kind of take a risk on yourself and actually get into motion. There's a lot of times when people get hit in the face and they just don't know how to recover. It sounds like when you got hit in the face with the .com crash, you ended up coming back and starting doing this real estate stuff. What was there something in there that kind of pushed you to do that? Because I think there's a lot of differentiating factors between you and people who just kind of sit on the sidelines and say, damn, I did start something and then I got beat up. You didn't stay down.
It's kind of crazy. Like I mentioned, K through 12 educated. I had everyone telling me to color within the lines and go to college and do this. And I actually did that for like 5 minutes and realized it wasn't for me. And I jumped out of that. But I was really hyperly concerned about what I would do in my future. I did want to be a police officer. And then I kept thinking that out, I want to do it, but is that where I want to be capped, And so I was in the struggle of having an entrepreneur spirit and wanting to do that job. When the .com crash, I touched on it. It was devastating. I wrote a book called 7-Figure Decisions. It's all in there. But you hit on it, like taking calculated risks is something that you're going to have to do if you want to find success. It's not easy. One of the things I talk about in the book more than anything is the common denominators of success. And that is overcoming fear, overcoming obstacles, overcoming the naysayers. And there's a lot of pain in that too, because it's very scary at times. But I lost everything when, I did that for close to 18 years, my tech business. And then I lost everything, was millions of dollars in debt. So going into the real estate class, it was just pure desperation. I literally got invited to a 3-day class that somebody else purchased for like $6,000, thought of me because we were both in the same situation. He had lost a business during that same time, and we were both kind of in a lurch. And so, I leveraged myself even more than I was leveraged to take more training and extended training, and made a ton of mistakes in real estate figuring it out. But, I kept grinding. And as I kept grinding, again, I don't want to take up all your airtime not knowing what you want to know, but,
This is
there was a
perfect,
long
man.
journey in there. Yeah. So it just was a long journey getting to the point to work my way back. I mean, I had 2 kids, one on the way, house, all that stuff. Totally over leveraged myself in my life. I was young. I didn't understand how to build a future, spend less than you make. I made all the mistakes as someone coming up, making a ton of money that never had money. And then I learned the hard way when the dot-com crash happened, and I lost it all, millions of dollars in debt. It was probably one of the lowest points of my life, not knowing what I was going to do. I was, like I said, no degree. And, honestly, it was like, I don't want to say a miracle, because it wasn't. It was a grind, but I grinded it out. Became really good in the single family foreclosure market, created a whole business around that I'm not going to go into unless you ask me, but created a whole business around that, started selling foreclosure properties to investors, had a radio show that I started organically.
Wow.
It's tons of stuff going on in there, but again, I just don't want to ramble on. I want whatever you want to know, you ask.
Well, this is the type of stuff I definitely want to know, because I think what people know you as is this poker. Well, I'm sure there's a lot of people that know you for different things, but from what I know you as is the poker player you see on TV or on the show. And so I've always wanted to know, well, what did he do to get to this point? Skill level wise, obviously you've dramatically improved from like the first time I saw you to now. I'm like, this guy is like a whole nother player. It's amazing. But I think before we get into that, the poker stuff, I'm very curious to see like how you did what you did. So you went to the seminar, someone believed in you to actually get you this ticket and actually and get you in the mix and stuff. How soon, or I don't know if it's how soon, but how long did it take you to really kind of break through, even just a little bit, start making some kind of money after you attended that seminar? Because I know a lot of people attend a seminar and then they get really pumped up for those 3 or 4 days and then go home and they don't know what to do.
Yeah, let me hit this. I'm really sorry, bro. Listen, a call came in and this thing just dropped. So
no worries.
This should be, hopefully you can fix this. But this should be a testimony.
We paused it and we're back on. It's all good.
This should be a testimony to your listeners that, like, if this retard could do what I've done, anyone could do it. The answer to your question is I made things a lot worse for myself before they got better. I had a learning curve, and you're right. There's a stigma behind real estate seminar companies of people spending a lot of money and not getting anything for it. But, I think that's like anything else. It's like, once I started my training company and I had thousands of students that I was teaching how to invest in real estate, I had a very small percentage that didn't get anything done. But that's like anything. You could give 10 people the same college education. Maybe 2 or 3 are going to be wildly successful, and the rest are just going to, who knows, pay off their student loans for the rest of their lives. And, I just, and as far as believing in me to invite me to this, really what it was is this gentleman, this friend of mine, was losing his business at the time like I was. We were in misery loves company. And he really just thought of me to invite me because we were both screwed. And, I was in a real lurch. And so when I went, like when he first called and said, hey, what are you doing on this Friday of whatever date? I was like, nothing, probably trying to get through the weekend to charge my battery up enough to get to my business that was in a forbearance situation. The bank, was taking my business. And so it was a tough time. He said, well, I got ticket, I go to the class, and I said, hey, his name is Walt. I said, Walt, no, I need those days to rest just to have enough to get, cry my way to work on Monday. And that's the truth. And then he said something crazy to me that he paid $6,000 for it, which put a value on it. And I get chills even thinking about this, because like success is a game of inches and decisions for people that they pass up like that, or they take. And I just think right now, if I didn't say yes, I wouldn't be sitting here with you right now, because, I had lost everything and was millions in debt. And I made more money. This was in 2007. And by 2009, I made more money in real estate from 2009 to 2013 than I ever made in my whole life. It's where I built pretty much all of my wealth, because, the market crashed in 2009 in the real estate market. So everyone was running away from real estate. And what I had learned, a real great investing tip from Warren Buffett, was buy fear, sell greed. And when everyone, was in the greed mode, they were trying to buy real estate, but this bubble was being created. Well, when it crashed, there was this fear, massive fear. And that's when it was time to really buy real estate and dig in. And that's what I did. And again, it's a really long story how I did that. I kind of specialize in single family foreclosures in the Vegas market, in the Orlando market. Built this system where I would buy them, rehab them, put renters in them. We started at one point, we created our own management. And then I would sell these to investors. And I had got invited on a real estate radio show just to promote my product from some mortgage guys that the mortgage industry blew up and they didn't know what to do. So they were bringing real estate people on. And I thought to myself, why can't I do this? So I figured out how to get paid programming, get my own real estate show. And I just started talking about my system, and I was selling hundreds of investment properties to investors while I was also buying my own. And then created a business around that, was also working with another real estate seminar company, selling my properties, forged that relationship, selling hundreds more. Then my partner and that particular gentleman who ran the company, the seminar company, circumvented me. And they wind up going behind my back with my business, the guy that I had on the ground working with. So what I did at that time, since that kind of got stripped from me, I was okay financially because I had all this real estate. But then I decided, you know what? I love teaching these students. So I started my own real estate training company. And I did that for close to 8 years until COVID hit.
So let's actually talk about what transitioned you into that stuff a little bit more, because one of the things that I do is I write advertising, copywriting, do a lot of marketing stuff, but where I started making, I would say, more money for, I would say maybe even less effort, was when I started teaching that stuff. So I host mastermind events and different things, and people come and start doing that. And that I found to be way more fun, way more profitable. Did you find that same thing? Did that become more of like a passion project to you? Like where you're like, hey, let's start training these folks?
It was real close to my heart, only because that's where I had come from. I come from being a real estate seminar student, which not a lot make it out alive. That's the truth.
Right.
And so my whole goal was to do it different, because the real estate seminar circuit is pretty scummy. And they charge a lot of money for not a lot of support, et cetera. And I'll be the first one to admit that, even though I put myself in that industry. So my whole goal was to do it different. I still have people that didn't make it that, put reviews on and, whatever.
That's with
whatever.
everything.
Yeah, it's with everything. And it's like the smallest percent, and it's such a bad rap. But I gave really everything to that company. And because I did it in a way for their success, I could have designed that company in a way where I was printing, literally printing, but I didn't. And I put a ton back into it as far as resources to make sure they had success. So did I make money doing that? Yes. Did I do very well? Yes, I did. But I made the majority really of all my wealth investing in my own real estate, not selling training, but I was the most fulfilled.
Right.
Teaching people, being on stage, teaching people how to do it, having the crew and the staff to also teach, and see people come to life like I was able to do when I went through that same process. So my most fulfilling time was the training company. Where I made the most money was investing in my own real estate. But I will say, now that I've made a business out of what I do now, poker, and now I play poker full time, I've never been happier. I loved what I did, but I'm glad it's in the rear view, and I'm doing what I do now. So
So that's actually, I love how you transition that, because that's actually where I was going to go next. It seems like when it almost seems like a pattern. So you were in real estate, then you started teaching real estate, and now
Yeah.
you're in poker, and now you've got a really cool poker business for sure. It's a live stream. But actually, let's back up a little bit with that. You said you were playing poker, I guess, for a while. Can you tell us a little bit about what I don't know when your first time was in a casino, but maybe if you remember that.
Well, I'm gonna shell shock you with age here. So,
oh shoot.
Yeah, I had a fake ID so I could get into the Congress Casino to play poker. Okay. Yeah, I did other things with it, but that's what I did. 19, when I was playing poker, my mother and a lot of people in my family were Italians. We all play poker. They all would go to my uncle's to the casino. So I went there, and back in the day, I would say that was, hold on, you see, give me 1 second. So that was 80, maybe 80. Oh, that was like 1984 or 83. Okay. So that's how old I am. All right, bro. So my first game I played was, if you could believe this, 50 cents, $1. And we took turns dealing at the table. There was no dealer. That's how small the game was. That actually happened back in the day.
Commerce?
You would deal. You would just like pass the cards around and deal. And then I stepped up to the 1-2, the 5-10, I played 7 stud for years, and I played limit hold'em. Then I evolved into no limit. But like I said, probably 4 or 5 years ago, I got invited on, when I started playing no limit on Live at the Bike. I was completely the mark. So they built the Friday.
Not like that anymore, I don't think.
No, I hope not. I mean, I'm a little bit better, but I was the total mark. The game on Friday was built around me for at least 2 or 3 years. But you know what? It was like the best thing that ever happened to me, because once I started realizing that there's so many more layers to this game, it became really intriguing to me. And I was able then to watch back and to really study and to realize what a fish I was, and how and then I started, working with some people. So my point being is, having that table time with some of the best in the world really was my education. So I paid for, just like I paid for my education in the real estate seminar game, I paid for my education in poker, but it was really the best thing to happen to me. And then what happened was, Ryan Feldman was one of like 4 or 5 owners. And me being a business guy, I probably in the first 6 months or a year, I became friends with Ryan, and I would say, like, this is a business, like, you got partners. I know, why are you guys doing this? Like, why is your technology so bad when you're the #1 show? Like, there's no competition. Don't you want to upgrade it? Like, why aren't you advertising on your felt? Why aren't you running advertisements on this? Well, how, so all this stuff that I'm like, no, they weren't monetizing. And Ryan would just tell me, I'm just going to tell you, just be like, look, I got 4 partners. Nobody wants to invest in it. All they want to do, and they had this antiquated paywall where you can watch live and then you have to pay to watch the games. And I'm like, there's so much more money if you open this up. So it's just all this stuff. So he was really unhappy, and we did not conspire behind anyone's. What really happened was, he came to me and he said, as a business guy, you've made it. Like, what would you do? And I said, Ryan, all I know is I could never be in something I'm not happy doing, especially with others, because it's even harder then. He goes, would you walk away? I said, I can't tell you to do that. It's like totally your call. He had nothing but nothing. He sold his shares and he walked out, and he approached me and he said, how would you feel, the business end of things, how would you feel, like, let's try to build a stream? And I'm like, I love that idea. I actually love poker. It'd be the first time I actually did something I truly loved. And we took it around during even COVID for a long time, and we got no traction. And we stopped at every casino, they were interested, but it really didn't happen. And then Ryan got upset with the bike because they let him go, like, just from a letter. So he tweeted the letter, like, do you believe these assholes? Like, that type of thing, like how they treat people. So Sean Yapel, the general manager of the Hustler, saw the tweet, and he DM'd Ryan. He goes, well, how come you haven't come here? Like, we should meet. And literally that he is, out of everyone we met, talk about a guy with vision. And it was just amazing. Within 2 hours, we all knew we were going to work together. Within a few weeks, we had a 2-year agreement inked, and we started building the stage. Wow. And we did it all through COVID. And so we had time to do it. We took our time. I put an exuberant amount of money into the audio visual and, you know, all the equipment. And because the thought was like, look, if we're going to do this, let's do this right. Let's just go out really hot, you know, instead of like, oh, let's patch together, you know, a couple cameras. And then if we make a, you know, a few bucks, we do okay, we can like evolve. I just figured, all right, I got the capital. We got the plan. Let's go. And it's been surreal. It's August 3rd is when we had our first show. And we're over 100 subscribers.
100,000 subscribers.
100,000 subscribers. We're absolutely crushing. We legitimately are the #1 live stream cash, you know, show in right now out there. And here's the thing, everything is for absolutely free. And to run those high stakes games 5 days a week and to be able to do it at the level, no one else is doing that.
No, that's crazy. I mean, I hear it at my little 2-5 games that I play. I mean, people are watching Hustler Casino on their phone while we're playing. And we've joked that nobody even I mean, no disrespect to Poker Go or any, but like no one even watches Poker Go anymore. We're all just watching Hustler Casino because we get to see those zoomed in angles on Garrett or you when you're in tough spots. Yeah. It's fun, man. It's a whole new level.
It's like a cult following. I mean, everyone loves the characters and the people, and everyone has their favorites. And, you know, either people really, really like me or hate me. I am so polarized when it comes to how people feel about me. But
I don't understand why, man.
Until they get to know me.
Yeah, because you seem like a straight shooter. You play well. It's you're entertaining. I don't know why anyone hates you on there.
They just it's just I shouldn't say hate, but I'm the number one
trolls.
Yeah, whatever. It is what it is. Good or bad, it's good that they're watching, right?
Yeah, 100%. So what are some of your future goals with Hustler? Because I don't know if maybe you imagined it to blow up as quickly as it did, but 100,000 subscribers is no joke, and you did that in like no time at all. So, I mean, where do you guys have any other future plans? You just riding the wave? Yeah.
So the plan is this. I mean, you know. And this all happened organically, and it's way above our expectations, even though we had high expectations. But we didn't do anything besides focus on put on the best quality show and the best show. And then the rest kind of happened itself. Now we're at the point just in the last few months where, you know, I didn't contact anyone. No one contacted me for advertisements. We just built the show. But now on a regular basis, we have people beating down our door to advertise with us, to be on the felt. We have it sold for the next 12 months.
Jesus.
Do I think we are going to bring it to a different platform? Yes, we are going to do that. We're going to be on different platforms. I would say in the near future, could be some TV stuff, but you know, we're not going to go away from our free model. We're not ever going to go away from that. They're always going to keep getting it free in the best quality. So we have a lot of stuff on the horizon. We just inked a deal with a really big company that I'll mention later. When it's actually signed, it'll be signed this week. That is going to bring really high stakes players to our place at least 5 to 8 times a year, where you're going to see the Tom DeWans, the Ivies, probably the Beast, a lot of other people coming on that they rep. And so, you know, there's just a lot of things going on. And yeah, we're riding the wave, but I mean, I'm pushing the pedal pretty hard on it because I love what I do, and I play 2 to 4 times a week, so I'm really playing full time too, and I love playing. Like on the off days that I'm not playing, I'm like bummed.
Yeah. Do you guys have? Because I saw there was somebody that put together like I don't know if it's like a record, but like all the top winners, top losers.
Well,
and you're in there as one of the top winners with a nice hefty number. I was wondering if you guys have an official one that we could all look at.
And here's the thing, and I'll just, since you said it, I'll address it. I wish we talked about this before it started, but it's okay. That is done by somebody that it's the worst thing for our show ever. Here's why. Think about this. The top players that are winning, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars, they don't want anyone to know that number out there. I mean, there's a lot of people that could be reported, you know, and the people that are not probably maybe get a little, you know, maybe embarrassed. Like, so it's the worst thing that's ever happened. I'm trying vigorously to get that to go away.
Got it. Oh, I'm glad we brought it up then, though. That's very interesting. Yeah.
But the thing is like we do post it after the show. And if somebody has nothing better to do than to go back and do that, then I guess they can do that. And we're just dealing with it. But you could see my point.
Yeah, no, I that's one of the reasons I asked, because I was like, man, if I was playing those big cash games, I don't know if I want someone knowing exactly what I
No,
need, but
no. I mean, even for me, like you mentioned, like I'm right there at the 1-2 spot, and it's just I don't need that, I mean, people already have an idea. They have an idea.
Dude, I love this. I'm really happy you're able to share all this cool stuff with us. If you could, what are some just kind of leave us with some tips for some of the entrepreneurs here on some of the things they should focus on? Because one of the things that stuck with me is you focused on putting on the best show and putting out the best product, and it grew like crazy. So I'm almost wondering if that's a lesson in itself.
That is, let me start here, and then I'll touch on that piece too. It's like this, and I am not promoting my book. I don't make any money on it. The only reason I wrote that book is because it was personal to me, because I had two best friends kind of gut me and circumvent me. And so when I rose to the top in the training business, I wanted to write about the journey, because everyone sees, it's like with any successful people, you always see the success, but you don't see the failure. You don't see how many times they had to fall down and pick themselves up and dust themselves off and get back up. And so you're a product of your success, but you never see the failure. So I wrote the book for people to understand that, like, I've had more failure than I've had success in my life in business. And but the common denominator in success, and what I write about, what I always told my students is, I could teach you every real estate trick, lesson, strategy, system in the book. But if you're not going to go out and do it, and you're not going to go out and face the fears, and you're not going to go out and take the chances and get it done, it doesn't matter what I give you. So only a small percentage of you are going to be successful. I used to tell them that right from the stage when they spent 30 or 40,000 on the package they bought. I'd say all of you are not going to be successful. And that is just the truth. And I believe this. If you take the really successful self-made people, not given, and you strip them of all their wealth, but you leave them with what they already know and a chance, they will all work their way back to success at some point and have it again. And it's the same thing with people who don't have anything. If you give them everything within a short amount of time, they probably won't have it. And there's like a poverty mentality or a wealth mentality. And you have to learn the wealth mentality, because the common denominator of success is really simple things. It's not the guy with the highest IQ or girl with the highest IQ. It's the person that is willing to go out there and have an empty bank account, is willing to go out there and have knots in their stomach and maybe a sleepless night and that type of thing. And then just keep grinding, and one day in front of the other, because everything you do today does become your tomorrow, whether it's negative or positive. All your actions will dictate your future. And honestly, I have nothing against education. I think it's amazing. I mean, I'd even love to have a nice education, just to have it to say I did it, but it wasn't for me. And I just think most people have to realize that they can't just like be in the box that society tells them to be in. Like, you got to go do what you want to do. And yes, is there something to do what you love? Not all the time can you do that. You have to sometimes work to that. I mean, you could be an artist and love painting, but if you're not really that good at it and you're sitting on the beach painting, you're probably going to be broke for the next 30 years. Like, it's not like you just do what you love and you become, rich, but it's helpful. And every business I was in that I had a customer or some type of market value, you have to be different and provide a better product, because everybody could slash prices. Everyone can do certain things. But when you have a client that knows they're going to get the best product from you, even when I was in the tech business, we gave the best service. I mean, our customers, I had a whole customer service department just solely around like being all over customers when they had an issue and sending them a part out to replace it ahead of time, doing things that no one did. And our customer base was solidified. You could not lose that customer. It's like, if we're going to give the best games, we're going to give the best players, the most action, the best clarity, the best audio, where are you going to go? You're just not. So to your point, yeah, I think that is a big part.
Dude, thank you so much. This was gold, guys. Nick Vertucci over here dropping bombs. Where can people find more about you and the live stream?
So all you have to do is go to YouTube and go to Hustler Casino Live, and then just hit subscribe on one of the videos and look for it. And we run 5 days a week, 5 p.m. Pacific time, Monday through Friday, and you can watch our shows. But if you do go there, subscribe, because that does help us. It's part of our business model. And that's it. In about 60 days or so, I don't even have a channel yet, but I'm building out for the Nick Vertucci show. It's going to be a podcast, and I'm going to do kind of what you do. I'm going to talk poker, but it's not going to be a poker show. I didn't want to pigeonhole myself to that. I wanted to talk about entrepreneur success and life success, and maybe the current events of the day, whatever, just to get out there, and do that. So that's something I'm going to do soon.
I love it, man. Guys, make sure you go follow Hustler Casino Live, leading show on YouTube for poker, fastest growing show for poker. Make sure you follow it. Thank you so much for coming on the show, Nick. I really appreciate you, man.
Hey, I really appreciate you having me, man. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, NV out.